And the question is, how many miles per week did Morgs run 13 flat? And I think we can definitely extend this out to all of us, like whenever we've run our PBs and our events. Or
I didn't run 13 flat, but I think when Morgan was running 13 flat, I averaged.
I run a bunch of weeks when things are going well, probably.
Ollie will be midway through. He's 1,500 meters between the semis and the finals. We'll both be in the 5K on Saturday evening, all down here in Australia, in Sydney.
Find out more on the Coffee Club podcast.
Coffee Club, Coffee Club. Grind your beans and grab your favorite mug. It's Ollie, Morgan, George, and Gus. It's them boys from Coffee Club. Boys from Coffee Club.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Coffee Club podcast, episode 224. And this is our final episode with the boys all down under. And the reason it's the final episode is because Aussie Nationals is beginning. Well, when this episode comes out, it will be essentially already be underway. Ollie will be midway through. He's 1,500 meters between the semis and the finals. And then that's on Thursday, Friday this week. And then we'll both be in the 5K on Saturday evening. All down here in Australia, in Sydney. The whole Australian athletics world is coming to our backyard, which is very exciting. So that's what we're doing here. George is still in New Zealand, and then he's heading back to the US tonight, I believe. He got a few hours till he heads to the airport. So next week we'll be back in America together, which will be fun. But for now, we're going to make the most of our time down here and preview the Aussie Nationals today, as well as getting to some of the lovely questions that you guys left for us last week. So first off, just round table, boys. How we feeling? We've been all enjoyed our trips down under.
So far, so good. Yeah, coming to an end. A few more hours. Was it 3 o'clock? Flight is at 10 p.m. So hopefully it goes. These are just stories of cancelled flights all over the place.
This is your trip to Hawaii?
Trip to Hawaii. Yeah. Hopefully, if anyone's in Hawaii wants to go for a jog, I'll probably maybe I'll go for a jog in my 12-hour layover. I don't know. At least I'll
break it up.
I have a few good spots at least that I know. As a Mary Mile participant a couple of times, now I know the good spots. So hopefully I can make the most of 11 hours. I'm gonna have 2 Wednesday runs. I actually don't even know how to do that in my training log. Just gonna have to repeat Wednesday all over again. But no, had a nice Easter down at the beach and some nice family time. But all has to come to an end, and back into it tonight. How about you boys, Ollie? What have you been doing?
Well, been enjoying being in Australia. Been pretty nice weather here, besides a couple of rainy days. Morgie made the trip down to God's country, the Shire.
First time ever getting the invite to Ollie's house.
First time ever. He's been invited multiple times by my parents, but smart move to not come in. You might get trapped, never be able to leave. But yeah, came in. We had a coffee. We went to Shelley Beach, had a little swim. Beautiful weather. It was pretty unreal. And I've been enjoying it. I mean, like, I'm going to be probably, I think I'm still in Australia till the 15th. So I think Nationals finishes on the 12th. Like, the whole championships are from the 9th to the 12th. So I'll have a couple of days to spend time with family, and which I'm already doing, but just a little bit more time until I head back to Boulder. But it's been nice training in pretty good weather. And the sea level hits well. Everything feels good when you're at sea level. So I'm enjoying that too. Nice. Yeah.
It has been huge.
How's the week been off the plane? Prep for tomorrow.
Pretty good.
Going to plan?
Pretty good. I think
you just can't do that
great.
much.
No, I feel really good. I think, Morgs, how do you feel?
Yeah, I mean, I feel good. The sea level is nice. I think you get used to like running in the heat and humidity. For you, it's a bit of a different story because you didn't even really have time to do a big workout in between arriving. You did one bigger workout between like arriving in Australia and then going to compete because you're already competing tomorrow, and you got here about a week ago, right? So yeah, just shaking off the jet lag for you. Whereas I've had a bit more time because obviously I race more plant, so I've done a couple of bigger workouts. Yeah, sea level is always nice. Running down here is good, but yeah, once you start trying to train a lot, I think last week I ran about 80 miles, and it gets a bit. You start to really appreciate how good the running is in Boulder and stuff when you're trying to run in the big city, and it's like the running is beautiful here and the nature is beautiful. There's so many good things, but yeah, I mean, I think we complained about this last week already, so I don't want to complain about it anymore. But no, I'm feeling good, ready to go. Australian Nationals coming up, so it's going to be very exciting. It's crazy because the race is at Homebush, which for those who don't know is Sydney Olympic Park, so iconic stadium from the 2000 Olympics. And the track isn't in the actual main stadium anymore. It's where the warm-up track was, I believe, for the Olympics, and the main stadium for the Olympics is now just used as a venue for bigger like football games and stuff like that. But it's really cool going out there. But I've raced, Ollie and I have both raced there many times in our lives, but I was trying to think of the last time that I raced there. And I think it was my last under 20 nationals that I did, which would have been at the start of 2014, I think. I think that's when I raced there last time. And it's probably not that different for you, right, Ollie?
Actually, I raced national there.
Oh yeah, that was 3 years ago.
Yeah, I won the 15 there. That was my first
for Tokyo.
No, it was for Com Games and World Eugene. Yeah, it was that year.
Was that against Rambo?
That was against Rambo. Really good. Like last 800, we duked it out. I was able to hold him off. So
yeah, I forgot that was in Sydney.
Dude, I've raced there. I've run nationals there. I just realized.
What year did you race nationals here, George?
I came over in. You must have been at Wisconsin by then. I came over in 2015. Yeah,
nice. Under 20s or opens?
Under 20, 1500, I think. No, Charlie Hunter won.
Oh, Charlie Hunter.
Shout out.
He probably had such a fast last lap.
Yeah, I don't think we ran very fast. His last one was ripping. Can't remember who else was in it. Maybe Cam Griffith might have been in it. Maybe. Oh, I can't remember. But I know Charlie won.
He was like iconic for always having the fastest.
You might have been. Were you under 18 because you were born in January? Or did you not run?
I don't think I ran. If it's 20.
Ollie would have been the right age group.
Would you have been under 20?
I might have already been. 2015 is when I went to. When I was getting ready to go to Wisconsin, but I don't know if I was in Wisconsin.
No, not in April.
I can't remember. I'm gonna have to.
I feel like you might have ran that, Ollie, because weren't you trying to qualify for? No, maybe that was the next year. I thought you were trying to qualify for World Juniors or something. No, I gotta look this.
Either way, it was a tough turnaround because we had New Zealand Nationals like 3 or 4 days before, so I ran 2 1500s at New Zealand Nationals with the final on like Sunday, and then had to fly to Oz and run the heats on like Thursday.
Damn.
Yeah,
it's fun. Shit practice.
It's a lovely.
I guess I didn't know Sydney at all, so I didn't know how far away it was. But I remember there being. Is there a warm-up track, a stadium track, and then the actual stadium? There's like a whole thing out there, eh?
So there's there's the track is in what was the warm-up track for the Olympics, but then there's also a warm-up track for that. So there's a separate warm-up track, which is pretty nice because it's very chill, and so the setup there.
Warm-up track for the warm-up track.
Yeah, it's really good. So it's a great place to host national.
And they're going to replace the tracks with a rugby or a cricket pitch. So
you just keep moving backwards.
And those sports keep getting more built-in stadiums.
Yeah, but looking at the first event, the 1500, which, as I already mentioned, starts tomorrow with the heats, and then the day after that is the finals already, just like that. And we're going to do a quick preview. I feel like there's not that much to talk about because I think we can kind of I'll let you talk about it, Ollie. How are you feeling going into it?
I'm feeling pretty good. I feel like this is like one of the times I've been the most prepared for nationals, because obviously for us, our seasons as Oceania boys are flipped usually compared to the rest of the world. Usually our national championships, or people trying to peak for the national championships, are in April, and a lot of people obviously want to be running pretty fast in September, August. So I'm feeling pretty good. I'm excited for it. I know we've got Adam Spencer, who's a bronze medalist at Worlds, tactically ran a pretty savvy race against world-class competition and came away with a bronze. I think he was the first Aussie to medal indoors in the 15. I think. Maybe don't quote me on that. And then you got Cam, who ran 3:30 and really bad weather, which is probably worth a 3:27. Then you have Jude Thomas, who unfortunately fell in that race at Maury Plant. I keep wanting to call it an industry plant. I don't know why it comes up in my head. Maury Plant, industry plant. He was a representative in Tokyo. He's run 3:31, so he's probably going to be pretty good. So there's like four guys that are really good. You got Callum Davis. You got multiple other blokes. Jack Anstey's been doing really well. So it's going to be like it's probably one of the deepest fields it's been for a long time. And you have Shuey as well. Shuey's back running, so he's a 3:29 guy, and it's going to be pretty fun to race these boys and just enjoy championship racing at a home level. So I'm pretty excited for it. The heats, I'm just gonna go in and treat it as a race to get through to the next one, and then for the final, we'll see what happens. I think Cam will be pretty strong and try and make it an honest race, but you never know what's going to happen in these type of races. So I feel like I'm decently prepared for anything. And last year I was pretty sick, so coming away with the third last year, I was stoked about that, and honestly ran a great race considering not being well. So I'm excited to go in and race the fellas and see what I can do at the Australian level, so which has been elevated. So looking forward to it.
I think you can definitely say that this is there's in the last, the quality of the men's 1500 in Australia has been ramping up and up, but I think you can say that right now it's at its maximum. It's at its peak.
Pretty damn good right now.
The contenders, so I don't think that's a hot take by any means. And I think it's gonna be so good just because there's so many really, really talented guys, and there's also a bunch of slightly different styles of 1500 meter runners. You have yourself, who you're pretty dynamic. You've been successful in like all different types of races. You have Cam Myers, who we all know what form Cam Myers is, and you have Spencer, who you could call kind of like a championship specialist, and then you have Jude, who's he's super young, so he's probably getting better every single year. So I think it's going to be fireworks. And I think Jack Anstey, I'm really excited to see how Jack Anstey does as well, because his progress, while maybe over here in Australia it's been a bit more quiet because he's over there in the US doing his thing, I feel like he just continues to improve and get better and better. And after I think indoors not getting picked for the Aussie squad for World Indoors, he's going to really feel like he has to go out there and prove himself. So
and no broken wrist, right? He didn't also break his wrist?
No, he got stitches in his knee.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh,
I think Haas told me he got cut up on his knee. So hopefully that won't affect him for the race. I'm sure he'll be fine. Everyone's entered and locked in, so it'll be pretty epic, as they say.
One thing it's
been fun to watch the last couple of years. There's good battles down there now.
I think so. It's in the notes, and I don't know how much we want to talk about this, because I don't know how well we can actually talk about this, but should we attempt to preview it, how you qualify for the Com Games team? How confident do you feel about doing that, Ollie? Because I don't feel very confident.
I don't feel very confident. The Australian selection is very much on a panel, and you have to tick a certain number of boxes. And the way I would describe it is the only person that will get selected for Commonwealth Games and automatically is Cam Myers. I think. Because he's run a domestic race, he's run under the Australian A.
I think Adam could, and maybe Jude.
Adam's time doesn't. Oh, do their times count from I don't know when they count.
Yeah,
I'm trying to see. That's the thing. Like, I don't know if Adam or Jude's times count in the window.
I thought it was only from Worlds onwards, which then would put Adam and Jude out of it.
Yeah.
So
But-
I don't
but,
know. That's why we
this
just
is-
want
Yeah. We should just say that, assuming hopefully they just pick the 3 best runners on May 31st or whatever it is.
Yeah, a month before, whenever it is.
That's what you hope for.
That's what you hope for.
Yeah.
Whoever
That's what you
is
hope for.
proven to be the 3 best runners via a number of categories, hopefully those 3 get picked.
Yeah, and it is a
And
tough
hopefully it's clear
one
cut.
for that because compared to maybe a normal world champs, because it's such a bridge short season, like leading into May 31st. Like normally when you're thinking about peaking in the summer, by May 31st, you wouldn't have necessarily wanted to show all your cards. You know what I mean? Well, not even that. It's just like you're not going to be in the same form that you would hopefully be in June and July. So, and there's not really the races out there as well to maybe show your form. I think for the 1500, there'll obviously be some good races before that, but normally, you know, like last year, for example, when they're picking the team, they have most of the Diamond League season to already go off and like all these other races. So I think that just means that this Nationals race is going to be probably even more important in the selection, which is, I think, ultimately a good thing. It's kind of the only race that everyone will be at and that maybe is closest to what the actual championship racing will be at the Com Games, and we know everyone like is at such a high level that they're going to be able to compete at it. So yeah, I think this Nationals will be very important for that. So it'll be a great race. There'll be lots of great races. I mean, the 5K then is the day after the 1500 meter final, and you got a bunch of good 5K guys. Kai's not coming back for it because he's doesn't really need to, because he knows that they'll pick him no matter what, which is fair. But then you got a bunch of good 5K guys, but then you also got guys doubling back from the 1500. So the 5K, I think, is going to be a very interesting race.
Spicy.
I don't know. I don't know
who's definitely doubling. Ollie, Cam, Stewie?
I
More?
don't think is Stewie doing the 1500?
He's in the 15, yeah.
Oh, he's doubling. Jack Hansey is entered in both,
He's
and
doing
Jude
both?
is entered in both.
And Jude?
I think everyone.
So
I think
basically,
most of the top guys, not Adam Spencer.
I guess there's not much reason not to enter both. Is that the theory?
Yeah, you don't have to. You don't have to race in the 5K, I guess, if you've got your 1500
Unfortunately, we
meter
don't
first.
get a day off. Whereas
Yeah.
the women do, which sucks.
Yeah,
Is that
I
your
think that's
excuse for?
insane.
Is that your excuse for not attempting the triple? Like,
Well, it's
Like
interesting that
Jess.
you say that, because I was going to bring that up. That
Yeah,
Jess
that's
is doing the
insane.
8, 15, and 5K. At that point, she's just playing around.
what is that
but yeah.
schedule like?
I think
don't know.
that.
Well, it works.
I think there's
'cause
an
she has
hour
time.
in between the 800 and the 5K.
An hour.
Okay, so is that Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday? Is that the only day she has to race twice?
I could be wrong, but I think so.
That actually
Because
doesn't
It's
sound
going
too
to be a
bad.
hard backup. Like, I
But
feel like the
still.
women's 800 is pretty good. You got some good women in there.
I mean,
Hey,
yeah, we talked about how
so-
good the men's 1500 is. I think all those events in Australia on the women's side is really, really crazy good as well. But
Insanely good.
I mean, I think the thing with Jess is that she would, who knows, maybe she probably does want a triple at Com Games if she could. I wouldn't even be surprised by that. But also at the same time, she's probably like, I may as well just,
Training
go for it
exercise.
all at this point. She's in the shape of her life, and she has that range. So
Yeah.
why not?
So impressive she's gotten her body to the point where it can handle that.
Yeah, I mean,
Honestly.
So
not many-
impressive.
Not many people have ever been able to do that before. So yeah, that's going to be very exciting to watch. I mean, she's coming off an amazing double world indoors. So going to be awesome. But yeah, back to the 5K. You have all those people that are doubling back who are obviously going to be like such good contenders in a 5K championship. But then you have fresh for the 5K, you have myself, Jackson. I don't want to leave people out, I'm afraid. Seth. Who else?
Who else was in your
What about
3K
Raina?
the other day?
Raina doing it? Jack Raina.
Raina not doing it. Getting ready for a marathon, I believe. Brett Robinson is entered, actually. I don't know if he'll be there or not.
Nice.
You
So-
ran the 10K in Cali.
Yeah, so I mean, at the end of the
Battle
day,
of the podcasts.
similar to what you end up saying with the 1500, I think it's just going to be like a great celebration of like what Australian distance running is, and you got like a full spectrum of people like that have been around doing this. Like Brett Robinson, probably I don't know exactly, but he would have been fighting for national titles when I was a junior still back in 2013, 2014, you know. And then like I won the national title back in 2018, which is getting a scary long time ago now. And then you have 20-year-olds who are also going to be competing for the national title, and just so much talent. And yeah, it's a bit intimidating to line up against these fields, but at the end of the day, it's like literally like this is what the sport's about, and I think it's very exciting and hopefully results in some great, amazing races. And I think it'll be, yeah, I think there's gonna be some people that'll be really hard to beat, but also I think it'll be a bit of like who shows up on the day. I'm hoping that Seth just does something crazy as well, just to add extra excitement to it. But
It's a pretty good chance that happens.
yeah, I think so. I think he will. But you know, I would have said that last year, and then well, last year I guess maybe not as much, but I would have thought he would have tried to do something crazy last year, and then I think last year he just kind of sat in on Kai and stuff. So who knows?
Is it supposed to be hot and or humid? At least for the 5K? I guess it doesn't matter so much.
Well, the 5K is not until late at night, which is
Really?
nice. Yeah,
Sweet.
I think it's 8:45 p.m. on Saturday night, so the conditions should be pretty good. It'll probably be pretty humid still. That's the thing that I notice mostly here, like coming from such a dry place, is like it always feels humid here compared to that. So
Well, that's
that'll
really
be
bad timing to watch it in the
really
US.
bad. Yes. So I think that's probably like 3 a.m., 4 a.m., something like that in the US.
Not ideal.
Yeah. We get some fun racing, and then yeah, back to the US. So I'm very excited.
Well,
for it.
good luck, boys. I'm excited to watch. Although, now that I know it's at 3 a.m., I will either be, well, maybe the heat's earlier.
Heat's at a good
I've got
time.
quite good at like opening the Australian, like they have like the full replay normally, and then I just like scan through it before I look at anything else. I've done that a few times. Normally pretty effective, so I recommend that to anyone that wants to still watch the race and not wake up at 3 a.m. Which
But I don't know
could be
how
me.
you watch it in the US, because it's normally on Channel 7 here, I believe. I could be wrong.
I think it's for
that's not-
free though. On that,
But
I think I
you
just use my
need a
VPN. Yeah, we should have a VPN sponsor at this point. The number of times we've recommended that.
We
How
should
do-
be
how do
Sponsored
we
by
not
Discord and VPN.
Oh yeah, that's also an option.
So, yeah, got some good. We're gonna have some fun trips out to Homebush coming up. So, follow along, everybody. And I should have mentioned this at the top of the episode, but this episode is sponsored by AmazeFit. Thank you very much to AmazeFit for supporting us, and use our code COFFEE, all caps, at checkout for 15% off. And so we're going to again do a little training time segment, which is presented by AmazeFit. And last week we got some questions from the Discord, and I think we have a couple more from the Discord, and then we also asked for a bunch from the YouTube comments. So thank you so much for everyone that did submit questions. First question does come from the Discord from Alberto Salad Bar, that's a famous Let's Run handle. I don't know if this is the same Alberto on Discord. Probably not. But they ask, how do you guys individually incorporate Whimsy into your daily training routine?
I'm gonna need an explanation here. What the fuck
Actually-
is Whimsy?
I live with that every day. So whoever's asked that question, you know that the answer to my life is constant whimsy. I'm a
Is this-
whimsical guy.
Is this some Gen Z thing? What the hell are we talking about?
Whimsy is a word, George. That's like a British word. Whimsical?
Is it? Okay, whimsical. But is whimsy a word, or is that like a shortened form?
I think it's
Is that
a
an
real
actual
word.
word? Is it really? Why does no one use that, or is it just
Well, I don't
British-
think.
only
I
British
think
people?
it's maybe a different form of whimsical, because how you couldn't ask that question. How do you guys incorporate whimsical? I think it's instead of whimsicalness, it's whimsy.
that's an actual? Wow, See, this
I
is
have
great.
I have the definition here.
I'm being
if-
taught.
if people
This is an English lesson for me because I
people
didn't know this
interested.
was a word.
I have the definition of whimsy refers to quaint, faithful or playful behavior, humor, or objects often characterized by a charming, unexpected, or imaginative quality. So it can be lifestyle and decor, creativity and design, daily life, specialty items. Incorporating surprise into routines such as taking a color walk or using imaginative, non-literal names for events.
Thank you.
That's huge. This is amazing.
There you go.
My eyes have been opened.
Hope that helped.
First I gotta correct myself. This was not from Discord. This was from YouTube, and this was the most voted question on YouTube last week. The most upvoted. So it's actually
Probably because everyone also wanted to know the meaning of that word. I can't be the only one.
I'm shocked that you don't know this word, George. This is like
You've
your
never
alley.
used it. I swear you've never used it. To me, at least.
Whimsy
I
or whimsical?
don't know.
I'm not sure.
Hasn't-
I mean, I know it's a word, but I also am,
I bet you that you've read this word in books like multiple
it sounds like a
times.
fantasy word, yeah, if you're reading fantasy books, but
All right, tell us, Morg, how that gets incorporated into your daily routine.
Yeah, I was trying to think about this. I running is in its most basic form not a very whimsical activity. So I think it is a lot to do with the things that you can surround the running, keeping stuff fresh. Mostly the best way to incorporate is via, I think, the people that you run with. Since I do a decent amount of my running on my own, then it is always a special occasion when I do have someone joining me now. So that's always, I think, the easiest and the best way. Having someone join you on the bike, perhaps, is always a good time. Doing things a little bit different. There's been a lot of whimsy in my training routine as of recent because my routine has been very inconsistent, I guess is how you would say that. Because of the fun different sessions that we've been doing rather than just the standard double T stuff. So I think just the people and the variety is generally the best way to achieve it for me.
George?
I agree. I was gonna say the same thing. I was gonna say mostly just probably who I run with. If I run with Ollie, then he'll add some humor.
Or start
Or-
heavy debates.
Humor or playfulness. Were those our two? Was that our
Playfulness is a
definition?
big one. Yeah.
Yared's got a lot of whimsy about him.
I was going to say Yard and Dylan Jacobs for me.
Dylan Jacobs.
They add whimsy. They add whimsy to my running world in my life when I'm running professionally with the fellas. They add a lot of whimsy. So shout out to those boys.
I think your glasses, Ollie. Your cool different glasses are pretty whimsical at times.
Yeah, I wear different glasses. I think the way that Dylan dresses when he runs is whimsical. Like
You
he
want to
wears
talk about
tracksuit.
that?
Yeah, that always
Tracks,
brings some.
sweatsuit
That always
pants.
brings some humor
That brings some
to the
humor,
training.
you know.
to the. That's
Sure.
part of the daily routine.
Can you guys
making fun of
explain that
Dylan.
to the people listening that don't know what you were talking about when you say the way Dylan dresses for runs?
He looks like he put on a blindfold when he woke up, just dived into the back of his closet and just like came out with whatever has been sitting there for a while and didn't look at it and then just walked out the door. His
It almost
socks
feels
his socks
intentional.
never match. I've never once
No.
seen him wear socks that
Matching socks. Yeah.
matching socks. Like, I don't know if he just has a giant basket of like every single sock he owns and he just grabs any two. Like, it doesn't even matter. Any two socks and then just out the door. Feeling great.
He's famous for,
I
for
find it
running a lot in
amazing.
track pants that people
Track
that are
pants,
track pants
yeah.
that you wouldn't normally run in.
Yeah, not even track pants. Full, thick cotton
The cotton
sweatpants.
ones. I mean, he's famous for wearing like 3 or 4 year old shipment clothing. Like he has
That's the thing.
old, like the boxes. He's a
We all have access to the same clothes.
Yeah, and I don't want to. Okay, Dylan, we love you. We don't want to give you too much shit here, but he'll tell me when we're on runs that he's still got all his boxes from the previous shipment not open, just sitting in his living room in his apartment. And then the new shipment comes, and he's like, "Shit, I got to go through this next shipment, and I haven't even opened the previous." Like he's just a simple guy, you know, and he doesn't really care about how things match or color code. I've been giving him a bit of strife for that, but he's kind of coming around a little bit with the color code.
No, he's not.
Well, he
No, he's
he has. There's a few instances where he has his color coding has gotten astoundingly. It's a lot better, but he's an interesting cat. So
it provides great humor to see what he's chosen.
And a lot of humor, yeah.
Lots of whimsy, you could say.
Lots of whimsy.
But thank you very much for the question, Alberto. I know that's possibly not your real name. Not sure. But anyway, our next question comes from Eduardo. The hardest part of the workout is starting. What mantras or techniques do you guys do to get past the procrastination and send it, especially when you work out alone?
Mm.
It's a good question.
Working out alone, definitely a little bit harder to get going. I think just having a program that you fully are bought into and believe in, it makes it a lot easier to start. I think just anytime you have any doubt whether or not you should be going ahead with like the workout on the day, definitely makes it harder. So I think if you're like in a program that you're fully bought in, especially alone, I think it makes it way easier to get it done. Because there's kind of less reasons not to. Because you know you're going to do it at some point in the next few hours, probably. And so you just get it done because you know that that's the best course of action. That's my take.
Probably. Ollie, what about you? You into the procrastination?
I'm actually the opposite. I try and get it done as soon as possible. But I think the way I try and view it when it's hard, even with teammates or without, I just kind of think of the way in which I've had, and I'm sure it might be different if you haven't done a lot of it, but if you've experienced a lot of hard workouts, or if you've experienced what that's like because of the fear, then you know that you're going to get through it. So that kind of gives me validation of like, I've been able to handle this before, I can handle this again, and this is only going to make me better. So kind of like a building block kind of mentality.
Embrace it.
Embrace the kind of, with like the Jingy quote, it's like, what was he quote about the pain? He's like, oh, your brain's telling you that you recognize the pain, but you just ignore it or something. You just keep going.
Is this when he was aqua jogging in his pool?
Aqua jogging,
that one?
Yeah.
Whatever that quote was. I thought it was hilarious, but also like, if you have that mindset and mentality and you practice what you preach with that, then you can deal with pretty much anything, any type of workout. So, nice. But yeah, I think Geordie's point about being brought into the program, that's a huge point. So
nice. Yeah, I have two kind of practical thoughts on this. One is just routine. I think that's probably the easiest if you don't even have to think, just generally, and it just flows. You know, you do the same warm up, you do the same drills, then there's no time for procrastination because you're not even thinking. And then maybe more specifically, let's say you are at a workout where the first rep is maybe a bit intimidating, and that is like what is causing you to procrastinate. I like to just specifically think. I don't have a mantra per se, but I like to just think about getting out and starting the rep with intention. And I find that if you run the first 50 meters of the rep with intention, then the rest of the rep, feels a lot easier, and you kind of just break it up like that. I guess I would even extend that to, let's say I'm doing a hard K rep, and I know this is probably what everyone does, so this is nothing novel, but I'll play a lot of different games, mind games to break it up mentally. So I'll focus on, let's just get through the 200 split, let's get through then the next 400 split, and then you have one lap to go. Or sometimes I'll not check my watch purposefully for like a certain period of time, because I feel like that helps the workout to go and flow a bit more easily. So just playing different mind games like that is like kind of how I like to go about it. But yeah, nothing too crazy. I think the routine is nice. I've started doing a new pre-workout. Actually, it's not actually new at all, but I've started working out with more intention. Now that I finally raced again, I'm like, well, I got to do my race warm up for every session, like harder session. Not like I wouldn't do it for a threshold session, but for every session that you would be like, okay, this is like a harder one. I'm doing like my exact race routine, which I think is pretty obvious to do, but I've never actually really done that in my life. Like we've always kind of stuck with like the standard 3-mile warm-ups, where for a race, like I wouldn't generally warm up quite 3 miles. And I like that because that really like helps you dial in, I think. And then, yeah, by the time you get, I guess the main purpose of it is by the time you get to the race, then you don't have to think at all because you've done it so many times. But yeah, thank you, Eduardo, for the question. The next question comes in from Runner the 89. And the question is, how many miles per week did Morgs run to run 13 flat? And I think we can definitely extend this out to just all of us, like whenever we've run our PBs in our events, or just whenever we feel like we've been in that kind of good race mode, like what the weeks or months leading into it look like. I'll speak for myself first. The 13-minute one, that was I think that race was in April or May, actually probably beginning of May of 2024. So I was looking through this training not that long ago, so I actually remember it pretty well. And what's interesting about that is that my mileage was not very consistent because it was coming off a lots of travel and race. So I had just raced, Ollie and I had competed in the Aussie Nationals in Adelaide, and then I had stayed in Australia and then raced in China, and then gotten back to the US. And I think this race where I ran 13 minutes only came maybe 2 weeks after arriving back. So leading into the race, I think my mileage was probably like 70 miles a week or something for the few weeks leading into it. But there were blocks before it where I was averaging probably more around 90 to 95 miles a week, which was, I would say, a normal solid training week during those months of the year. That's what I was getting up to. So yeah, I feel like you guys are probably decently similar. We were all trained somewhat the same.
Ollie, what do you got?
I didn't run 13 flat, but I think when Morgan was running 13 flat, I averaged 90. I mean, I think Morgan, myself, Joe at the time, and a few of the other fellas ran around that mileage, whereas like I know Geordie and a few others run a little less, but most of the stuff we do is quite similar. Obviously build up your strength and then sharpen up. I feel like 5Ks in general, though, I haven't done a lot of them. Morgan, I know George did a lot of them in 1 year. Didn't you do like a lot of 5Ks? And yeah, so I feel like with that, when it comes to training, it's quite hard to, like 1500s you can kind of get done and keep going quite easily, and 5Ks are much more like strategic on how you do them and when you do them. And I know Morgan was uber, is that my German word there? Uber fit for the Los Angeles meet, where that race was kind of also crazy. So I would say, yeah, 90. I think it all depends on, you want to be feeling good in the 5K. You don't want to be feeling like you're too much gunk in your legs, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah, 90 miles a week is enough to run your best, I think, 5K. Most people would argue, unless you're like Andres Almagren and you run like 125 miles a week. Actually,
yeah, no one is that dude.
Jakob runs. Yeah, actually, there's a lot of people in the world that would argue that you need to run more than 100 miles if you're doing a different training system. But the training system that we were doing, I think running 90 to 100 miles a week is, when you combine that with the quality sessions that you're doing during that week, like that's very solid training, and that's definitely enough to run good 5Ks.
Yeah. I think it's just truly only one factor of training.
Yeah.
Like, there's just too many other things going on to look at a number at the end of a week and decide whether that or not that's the right training. Like, too many things on a day-to-day basis, like week to week, month to month. It's way better to just look at a bigger picture over months or years and running consistently over a long time instead of trying to hit a weekly mileage number. But in saying that, I run a bunch of weeks in the 80s when things are going well, probably. Maybe 90 if a race is kind of far away. Or 90, low 90s, maxed out in a big week.
There's a sauna. There's a sauna near George, 90.
In the yeah, I count the miles in there.
But yeah, were you saying that the sauna makes George run more, or you just count that as mileage?
It just counts more total mileage. If we can get, like, for example, Scottsdale, when we got in that sauna, that was mileage. For me, that was mileage. We'll get a mileage in. Dude,
it felt like mileage in there.
Dude, sauna is a session. That's a workout.
That thing was serious. Yeah, she was cooking.
She's cooking.
Yeah,
that was a hot sauna. I miss that thing though.
So do I.
That's nice, eh?
Speaking of alternative training, we do have a couple of cross-training questions. The first one comes in from Ashton, I believe. I don't know where this question is a little bit out of left field. I don't really know where this comes from, but when do you incorporate the erg brackets rowing machine into your cross training? If you three did a relay triathlon, who would be the swimmer, the biker, and the runner?
Ooh, I think we could put together a good team, but also the erg. That is out of left field.
It's not very useful for us.
No,
I'm gonna have to go ahead and say I've never once been on that machine in my entire life.
We don't have the coordination nor the muscles to get a proper workout out of that machine, I don't think.
That machine is hard too.
I think it would make you feel so bad. Right?
Just make you tired.
Do you remember that period where I was doing the stand up, the ski erg? I don't know if do you remember?
Yeah.
I couldn't use my legs, so I was doing heat training on the ski erg. That was terrible. Don't recommend that.
I do remember that. That's got to put you in like all the wrong positions for running. Like that shortens up your hip flexors. Everything's just like going the opposite direction to where you want to be running.
Yeah, I mean, if you grew up like as a rower or using that machine, I think you could definitely justify using it as cross training, and especially if you were trying to get like a certain. I mean, obviously you can get super lactate on it. You can get super like you can get a really good workout out of it, but none of the three of us did that. So for us, it would just be close to impossible to get a good workout on it.
Yeah, that's a good point. If you know how to do it and you've already like adapted to that feeling, maybe it's all right. But I feel like if you were just going to go start it, you'd be destroyed.
Yeah, we would point you in the direction of biking, the stair machine, the elliptical, those other ones, if you could. But onto the relay triathlon, I think obviously Ollie has to do the swim.
Fair enough. Just afraid so, Ollie. You can
just because otherwise, that swim leg would really be weighing us down.
Fair enough, I can do it.
Yeah, we're putting you in the swim.
Yeah, I don't know who would go between us, George. Like
on the bike.
Are we doing? Is this how long is a relay triathlon? How long's the run? Is it? Are we thinking? Like,
I don't know. Is this an Ironman relay, or is this an Olympic distance?
If it's an Ironman relay, it's a fuck run.
Is it? Are we trained? Like, do we have? Is it off? Is it onto the bike, off just running training where we haven't been? Neither of us have been on the bike for like 6 months.
I'm assuming we're doing this like tomorrow.
How do you think your bike fitness is right now?
Dude, I have found out that I'm actually pretty bad at biking. Like I can do it
based on what?
Well, I went for like a bike ride with Cinta, and she was just dropping me on all the hills, and I had so much more biking training in my legs. So I was like, "How is like?" And she wasn't even trying to do it. And
her power to weight ratio was just elite.
That's the thing. I was like, yeah, I can put out watts on a bike, but in terms of moving fast on a bike, that's a different story when you weigh a little bit more. But honestly, I wouldn't mind doing the bike leg because I do like biking.
You're solely an indoor trainer guy.
Yeah. If we're doing like a Zwift World Championship,
A Zwift triathlon?
I think
it'd be a pretty similar result.
Yeah. Unfortunately, none of us have specialized in the bike. Ollie has specialized in swimming before, so there's a legitimate. It makes sense to put him on there. The bike is inevitably probably going to be our weakest leg comparing to other relay teams around the world. And I think, we're just going to have to.
Or assuming it's Olympic distance and the run is 10K, if not more, maybe we put Morgan on the run actually.
Yeah, and then you on the bike. That's what I was thinking. Purely if it was Olympic distance.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'll bike.
Yeah.
Final answer.
All right. Perfect. Lock it in.
Ollie leads off.
Lock
George on the bike.
I'll get
Morgan
a
on the run.
start.
I think would be very competitive with. I'm not sure who.
Do you reckon
What's the equivalent?
Do you reckon any other?
Well, there is. I guess there is real relay triathlons. I know that they're a bit funny, like the way that they do them at like the Com Games and the Olympics. So I don't know. They're not because they're not just like straight up like 3 people.
I know you still have to do everything, don't you?
Yeah. So they're a bit different.
I think you have to do a bit of everything.
So I don't know.
Which makes sense if you're a triathlete. You should be.
Yeah, it does.
All 3. It makes more sense. Yeah.
Do you guys have Weet-Bix triathlons in Australia? Or is that a New Zealand thing?
No, that would definitely exist.
Yeah. That is, right?
Yeah.
Did you do them? I did some of those relays growing up.
I never really did triathlon, no. I always either did swimming, surf club, or just running cross country.
Well, I just showed up for the run part. I wasn't doing it.
Yeah. No, I don't think I did it. I might have to ask my parents. I don't remember.
I feel like that was a big thing growing up.
It was.
I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's cool. So our next cross-training question, and by the way, Amazfit watches have over 170 sport types, activity modes.
That's so many.
Which is a crazy stat.
Yeah.
I would love to go through them all and see.
Good luck naming 170 sports.
Yeah. Seeing what the wildest one is out there. That'd be very fun. But do you guys also do cross-training when you're healthy or only when you're injured / coming back from an injury?
Does only if sauna counts as cross training?
Yeah, I was going to say the only cross training I do now healthy is sauna.
Yeah,
and swimming.
But you have successfully. You're the one that successfully, I would say, juggled, like you included cross training in even when you're healthy, George, and even like when you're competing and stuff.
Back in the day, I used to a bit more. I don't so much these days, and I think I would rather not do it while competing these days, but it's definitely possible. And I did for a long time, take a day or 2 off a week and do cross training. Is it asking what kind?
No, but
do you? Oh no, just do. Yeah, now mostly only coming back from an injury, I would say, apart from the sauna. I think it just makes me not feel as good running if I spend too much time doing other stuff.
Yeah, that's my thing because in theory, I really like the idea of doing some cross training, and even if you were to maybe like lower your mileage by a tiny bit and then supplement with a lot of extra volume on a bike or something like that, in theory, I like that. But then my thing is always when I'm training my full running training, I'm already pretty tired like all the time. So I can't justify doing extra volume over just the value I think of recovering. That's how I feel at least. Maybe if I eventually get to a point where I feel like I've maxed out like the running that my body can handle and I have the energy to do extra training, then I would look to include it. But I have not hit that point in my running career yet. But I think it's, with that said, the 3 of us are pro runners and we devote pretty much everything in our lives to running as much as we can. So I think like I would, if I was looking at like general population and, maybe you don't have quite the same luxury of recovery and all this stuff like we do, then I could definitely see the value of it for a lot of people out there. Like I would recommend it if you think it would suit your lifestyle. I think that's kind of what it comes down to. But yeah, for us,
There are some pretty good triathlete runners out there.
yeah, I think there's one. His name's like Alex or something. I think you're on like a
So that swimming and biking seems to be helping.
He ran some sort of marathon.
It's like a good
Yeah, some like kind of alright time, I think.
So definitely works. Well, can I ask you guys a question?
You may.
Do you guys think that if Alex stopped biking and swimming and only ran, he would actually run quicker than 2:06 as a runner's perspective? It's funny that we're talking about him because I just watched the Sigma Sports Cafe Ride episode with him where he talked because actually like they mostly talked about his marathon because that's the main thing with him. And I think it was almost like obvious. Well, Matt Stevens, who's coming from more like a cycling background, the host, was talking about it as if it's obvious. Like, yeah, well, if you just only ran like then, like you could probably be like one of the best runners in the world. But I would say from our perspective, it's a little bit more nuanced and more complicated than that. I think he was running, I want to say he was running 100 miles a week, or maybe even, I think his max weeks were above 100. And then he was doing still maybe like 3 to 5 other sessions across of biking and swimming, something like that. Was he split?
So he'd cut out some.
He cut out a lot of swimming and biking and run a lot more.
From what I know, he focused pretty heavily on the marathon. So I feel that he did, in that point, mostly do running and became like a professional runner in that sense of just like, he still did a little bit of swimming, a little bit of biking, but it was predominantly focusing on this marathon, which my answer to your question, Morgs, if he dedicated all his time into professional running, can he run faster than 2:06? Yes, I think he can. However, I do think that he did focus a lot of that time and energy into that 2:06 marathon. So how much quicker? I wouldn't say like he would be running too flat. If he, you know what I mean? Like, obviously you never say never, and the dude's so talented, but I do think that like he did focus a lot on it, and also like the cross training of swimming and biking definitely helps the body in some ways, and he probably got something out of it as well to help with that 2:06. But it would be interesting to see him actually just do like a full year of just running and seeing how it goes. But I mean,
that's what he tried to do essentially.
Yeah, it takes years though, like years and stack up on years, and like people get better or they get worse. But most of the time they get better from stacking up consistent training from running over the years. So that would be a hard thing to judge. Like you said, it's a bit more nuanced. But I do think if he focused completely on running and he put himself in the same position, I think he could run quicker than 2:06. Why shouldn't he? But
yeah, it's tough. My main reason to bring this up is like I was just listening to someone talk about it who was more from a different background. I'm like, it's not quite as obvious as that. Like it's not that he's in. Yeah, I would never say that he couldn't, because I do think that he could, but also I think you have to value how fit he is from being a triathlete, which you can get to a pure level of fitness that is almost impossible to get to from just running, because of the amount of hours of training, endurance training that he's been able to put in across the years. And then beyond that, like the main thing that decides how fast you can run, which is the limiting factor, is I guess your efficiency, like your actual just like, running efficiency. And because he's always been a good runner, like that's something that he's always had. I do think that to answer my own question, I don't think he would get quicker by focusing solely on running. But I think if he continued to do the training block that he did for Valencia, which was, let's say, 90 to 100 miles a week of running with the cross training on top, I think he would probably just continue to possibly get better at running from the cumulative higher volume training in his legs. But realistically, he's run probably, I don't know, at least like 50 or 60 miles a week for his whole life. You know what I mean? Like he's been running. So, and he's always run fast times on the track, like, which is, I think, the biggest separator between him and most triathletes when it comes to running is like, this guy can run a quick 3K, which is something that takes a lot of natural ability. And yeah, he's always had that. So yeah, I don't know. It will be crazy if he does run more marathons though. He set the bar so high for himself.
Really has.
So yeah.
That was a nice aside.
And he, okay. We got one more.
I liked it.
Amazfit training question. Geordie, what kind of hurdle workouts do you do to prepare for steeple season?
They're coming up. Haven't done one yet. Probably by the end of this month, maybe start of next month. Maybe that'll happen. But nothing that crazy, honestly. I try to look at it as I don't gain any fitness from running over hurdles. I mean, probably do, but that's not the aim of the workout. Like, I just try and run enough volume at an efficient pace while hurdling well, pretty much, which means I often run pretty short reps, pretty fresh, with enough recovery to continue to do a few of them so that they feel good. And like, so much of it is neuromuscular, like hurdling. And so there's no point being crazy fatigued and hurdling with worse technique because you're really tired. So often it's just like 400s at the start of a workout and then finish the workout on the flat, basically. That was what I was doing before Worlds. It was pretty simple. Maybe I got up to like...
You're saying that hurdling is pretty much being at sea level because you don't gain any fitness. You only maintain fitness, hurdling. So hurdling equals sea level, from what I'm guessing.
Let's go with that. No, and there's probably fitness to be gained.
This is just good for me, George, because I'm learning, registering hurdling. So
there's probably some fitness to be gained, but I'm not thinking about it as in...
It's at the back of your head.
In that kind of situation. I'm just trying to hurdle efficiently, pretty much. Yeah. And maybe the longest... Did I do a couple of 800s? Or maybe I would do like half of an 800 over hurdles or something. I remember before Worlds I did... As we had 800... me and Kai had 800s. And I did the first 3 of hurdles or something. And then I finished the flat ones with him. It was just basically half the workout over hurdles. But I can't remember if it was a full 800. Maybe that's the longest I've ever gone. And then mostly it's just 400, so with some, just reps, feeling good over hurdles. That's how I look at it. You just got to be able to do it and do it efficiently. Yeah.
It sounds like that also kind of speaks to the value of just doing a bunch of races as a steepler, like just doing steeple races as a steepler, which there's value in this in any event, but in particular for steeplechase, in terms of the actual challenge of going over hurdles when you're as tired as you get in a race, it's like not maybe that practical to really ever get there in training, if that makes sense. So it's like you'll gain a lot from just doing the race.
Yeah, exactly.
So
that's my expertise. That's it.
And on top of that, you also do stuff on your easy days as well, right?
Yeah, I do strides over hurdles once a week, maybe.
Yeah. That's it. That's all you need. Well, next week we're going to continue to take training questions from the YouTube comments. So please use them below. And once again, thank you very much to Amazfit for sponsoring this episode. And don't forget to use our code coffee all caps at checkout for 15% off your new watch.
Speaking of coffee,
amazing.
I have a coffee bean shout out from LA. Late notice, but I forgot to bring it to the Morgs.
Late in the episode, the hidden bean shout out.
The hidden bean shout out. I thought this would be fun.
No one's listening by now, bro.
This is a shout out to one of the local bars in Boulder, Colorado. Dark Horse, rest in peace. Not related, but same name. Little message here. They're from Guatemala. They look delicious. They smell great, and they'll last by the time we get back. So the boys and I will definitely get a taste of it. But it says to Ollie, Gus, Geordie, and Morgs. Hope to see you guys back for LA 28. Your San Diego fans. Sequoia. I don't know how to say that name. I'm so sorry.
Maybe?
Sequoia.
That's
Javier,
tough.
Christian, and Alex. So I apologize if I mispronounced that, but thank you so much for the beans. They will be well used and well received by the fellas when we're all back together. So a little late bean shout out, but I thought I'd get it in there, and appreciate you guys very much. So
It's all right. I have a late one. I have a Poland one next week, but the beans went back to the US, so they're waiting there.
they're sitting there lonely.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, this is a very nice way to round out this episode. I've looked up the historical Australian Nationals results to try
Tell us.
find if you guys
Was Ollie there?
together. And unfortunately, Ollie did not compete. But one thing
What are
that
you
you left
doing,
out,
bro?
George, is that you also
Okay.
competed in the 800.
Oh yeah, I was fried for that. That was the next day. I didn't make the final for that. I was so done. I forgot I did both. It was after the 15.
But
know
Charlie
how I
won. This is
qualified, man.
2015. Charlie won. Hugh Nicholson, who was a good
That's
right.
he was so good, went to
Shout out.
San
Tassie boy.
Francisco. And guess who was in 4th place in this race, George?
Wait, was it Cam Griffith? Or was he second?
Cam Griffith actually was at the back of the final.
Oh,
4th
wait,
place
who?
is someone else who is still involved in the sport. You might talk to him from time to time at meets. It's none other than
Mitch
Mitch Dyer.
Can we?
Yeah.
Mitch Dyer.
No way.
Hell
Yeah.
yeah.
He was 4th. And this was the under 20 Australian champs in 2015. And then Ollie was competing against Matt Ramsden in 2016, which was what I was remembering because that's when we were, I guess, recruiting you out of Wisconsin, and Ollie did the 1500 and the 5K there.
What did Charlie win in? How fast did they run?
350, which is actually pretty quick at an under 20 nationals. I think that's really quick because for reference, I think the world junior qualifying time is around 350 for the juniors back then. I think it's a lot faster now. So that's a pretty quick winning time for an under 20 race. You ran 355.
Well, I was way back. Well, I ran 349 the week before. Just as
wow.
we just got to put that out there at New Zealand
That's
Nationals.
fast. And
That is quick.
New
Back when
Zealander
that was fast.
Won the 5K, Jacob Pridley. Now we're just like reliving the glory days. I remember Jacob Pridley. Sorry, not Pridley. And yeah,
Wow.
if anyone was
2015.
wondering, Ollie came second the next year in the 5K to Matt Ramsden.
The 5K? You were running 5Ks back then?
I think recruiting wise, they were like, yeah, you run 5Ks.
You should run one.
Yeah.
I think
I don't think I
had
did very well. I
run
think Rambo just dropped me.
you'd
Yeah,
run a really
sorry.
quick 3K. You ran really quick on the 3K at Zatopek that year. I
that's
remember.
right. Yeah. Yeah.
Like 8:10 or quicker or something. Like pretty quick as an under 20. But yeah, lots of names here. It's cool to
Nice.
see. Jack Ansey was in the 1500 as well against you. So yeah. Alrighty. Well, that's it from us this week. Thank you guys for listening. Ollie and I will go off to Aussie Nationals and do our thing. So everyone follow along. I guess some of it has already happened by the time you listen to this. But yeah, we look forward to being back in the US next week, being back in the studio and being able to chat with you guys again. So yeah, that's it for us today. Thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll see you again next week. See ya.